All right, welcome to Big Time Basketball, the basketball segment of the Fantasy Fanatics Podcast. I'm your host once again, James, and I'm joined once again by Mete and Nate. What's up, boys?
So,
Heyo.
All right, in today's episode, we're going to recap some NBA games from Monday. The Tuesday slate's currently underway as we're recording, so we'll just take a look at some of the scores there. We'll recap those if any of them are finished, and then we'll just take a look at our fantasy basketball pickups for the week for fantasy. And then, we'll just move right into previewing Wednesday's game slate. And then at the end, I guess sharing our final thoughts on what's happened so far leading up to the trade deadline. So that's pretty exciting as well. So let's just hop right into it. We'll start with Monday's games, and we'll start with the first one. We have the Toronto Raptors beating the Charlotte Hornets 116-101. Looking at some of the stats here, Gary Trent Jr. led the Raptors with 24 points. Miles Bridges had 25 to lead the Hornets. Pascal Siakam, 11 rebounds to lead the Raptors, and PJ Washington had 9 to lead the Hornets. Siakam also added 8 assists to lead the Raptors, while LaMelo Ball had 9 for the Hornets. Mete, I'll just start with you. I guess give me your thoughts on this game and I guess both of these two teams.
Great effort by the Raptors. They got a huge lead going into halftime, and then third quarter they kind of slipped up, but then at the end of the fourth they really ran away with it again. Near like the 5-minute mark, Van Vliet made a huge three that kind of daggered the game. And the Raptors are playing amazing right now. They're on like a 6-game win streak, I believe. So prior to like this week or last week, they were running a really tight rotation of like 8 men. So it's great to have guys like Ken Birch and Precious Chua back, as they might not have had the greatest night like statistically, but the fact that they can give the starters a rest is huge. So the Raptors are looking amazing. As for the Hornets, I've been saying this all year. They're pretty much been stagnant this whole season, it feels like, other than the hot start they had. And it's gonna be interesting what direction they go towards as the trade deadline's coming up on Thursday. And I could see them being buyers, I can see them being sellers, or it might even just hold and not make any moves. So I'll be interested in that. And sadly for the Hornets, they lost Gordon Hayward this game. So that was really tragic, and hopefully he's fine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just looking at the Raptors, we talked about them at the beginning of the year. They were like 12th or 13th in the East, and they've made a crazy jump since that time. 6th in the East now. I mean, just looking at some of their spreads, they're very undervalued by a lot of American broadcasting networks and so on. Like, this Raptors team is just playing well above their heads. Hopefully, they can keep it up. I guess, Nate, what are your thoughts on this game?
I think it was a really good job by the Raptors overall. Basically, it came down to like what team can outscore the other and what team can kind of slow down the other's offense. And I think Raptors kind of did a better job of that. I guess if you look at most of the players, a lot of them, they didn't really have the best field goal percentages overall. They didn't have really good 3-point percentages overall. Gordon Hayward had a really good 3-point percentage, but unfortunately he was unable to play 6 minutes and he was injured, so they lost him. So I think that was a really big disadvantage that the Hornets had. The game might have been closer, I think, if Hayward wasn't injured, but I guess kind of happens sometimes. And I think Mason Plumlee didn't get enough touches with the ball, in my opinion. I think this game, pretty much every time he got the ball, he was able to put it into the basket, and they weren't really giving him enough. So I guess if the main scorers, their percentages are a little bit low, maybe they can give it to Mason Plumlee. He can get a couple of easy baskets for you, and then when people try to stop Mason Plumlee, it'll open up the offense for everyone else. And I guess for the Raptors, they're just playing really impressive overall. Pretty much almost everyone on that team can score at a really high pace. I mean, as you can see, there's like 4 people with over 20 points, and Scotty Barnes is a rookie and he got 15, so that's pretty impressive. And I'm impressed with Pascal. Um, he had a 62.5 field goal percentage and he shot 50 from three, which is really impressive because for the past couple of years, it looked like his shooting wasn't so good. I think that was kind of like the biggest improvement he had to kind of make, even more so than trying to get new moves or trying to expand his bag of tricks. I think his shooting was kind of like the biggest question. So with him being able to improve his shooting, that's gonna make him more difficult for other teams to stop.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you said, the whole Raptors starting lineup, they had double-digit points. When you're getting that kind of production from your starters, your bench doesn't even have to do much at that point to pretty much secure the W. So yeah, great on the Raptors overall, and hopefully the Hornets can start to, turn things around as they have been slipping as of late. But I guess getting to a team that's really been surging, just like the Raptors, that's the Miami Heat. They beat the Washington Wizards 121-100. Great game for Miami. Bam Adebayo led them with 21 points. Corey Kispert led the Wizards with 20. Bam also led the Heat with 7 rebounds, while Corey Kispert also led the Wizards with 6. Gave Vincent 8 assists to lead Miami, and Spencer Dinwiddie had 6 to lead the Wizards. Nate, let me bounce to you on Miami. I guess what are your thoughts on this performance?
It was a pretty good performance overall. I guess they were able to kind of take advantage of Bradley Beal being injured. So you kind of have to take advantage of those kind of things. They have more star power, if that makes sense. They have, I guess, more high-end scoring than the Wizards do. So you just want to kind of take advantage of that and make sure that the Wizards don't really catch up on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This Miami team, they've been so hot ever since Bam and Jimmy Butler came back. Like they've just been playing out of their minds, first in the East right now. I guess, Mete, I'll bounce to you. I guess, what are your thoughts on Washington?
Yeah, the Wizards are like the Hornets in the sense that they were off to a really hot start as well, but instead of being stagnant, they've been on a downwards trend for the last couple of months, it feels like, and they just received even worse news today that Bradley Beal, he's likely done for the season. He's going to have a surgery. I believe it was on his hand or something. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, I'm pretty much certain on the report I saw. So yeah, that's terrible news for them that he's their best player. Spencer Dinwiddie, his name has come up in the sense that like the team apparently they're not very happy with him, so they want to trade him. And yeah, I feel like with the way they're playing, I feel like the Wizards could be sellers at the trade deadline on Thursday. I feel like they can get good value for guys like KCP, Spencer Dinwiddie, Montrezl Harrell, and even Davis Bertans. He hasn't played that much this season, but we know his resume. He's a great 3-point shooter, and when he's hot, he can make pretty much any three. So yeah, I feel like the Wizards, if I was in their shoes, I might be thinking of becoming sellers at the deadline.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this team, they were like a borderline playoff team last year. They're around the same this year. It just might come to a point where they're gonna have to sell. So, yeah, definitely, teams are gonna be looking to buy into some of these pieces that they have. But getting to our next game here, the Phoenix Suns beating the Chicago Bulls 127-124, close game here. Um, Getting to the points, Devin Booker and DeMar DeRozan led their respective teams with 38 points. Huge games there. Jay Crowder had 10 rebounds to lead the Suns, and Nikola Vucevic had 12 to lead the Bulls. In terms of assists, Chris Paul had 11 to lead the Suns, and Zach LaVine had 8 to lead Chicago. Mete, I'll start with you. I guess big win for the Suns.
Yeah, the Suns continue their dominance. They just recently hit 10 losses. So, yeah, it took them a long time to finally hit double digit losses. That's very impressive. number one seed in the West and the NBA. And yeah, it was pretty much business as usual. They almost let this game slip away in the fourth, getting outscored 41-25, but they got it done. So great job by them. And shout out to Bismack Biyombo. He's finally back in the league. And yeah, real Raptors fans won't forget his contributions for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully he does get more minutes though. I guess he's probably got to earn them. But yeah, he's back in the league. Nate, I'll bounce to you. I guess give me your thoughts on the Chicago team.
I think they did pretty well. The Suns team is a really hard team to compete with. They've been pretty much beating every team they come across. Unfortunately, the Bulls weren't able to get a win at home, but they had a really good fourth quarter drive. I think basically by the start of the fourth quarter, they were down by quite a bit, and they were able to limit the Suns in the fourth quarter while going off for 41 points um, by the Bulls. So I think that's really impressive. DeMar had a really good game, 38 points. Vucevic had a pretty solid game with a double-double. Zach LaVine had 32 points, so that's really impressive. And they're without, I think, Lonzo and Caruso. Caruso's a good perimeter defender, and Lonzo's a good playmaker and a good perimeter defender himself. So it's pretty impressive that they were able to kind of limit the Suns a bit in the fourth quarter. And they were basically just the 3 away from winning, so it's not really a bad loss.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Not a bad loss. You also lose to the first place team in the West. So that's kind of one where you can just say we played well, we kept it close, and I guess on to the next game. And I guess speaking of the West, the number 2 team in the West, they got a big win here. They beat the OKC Thunder 110-98, and that was the Golden State Warriors. Really solid. Klay Thompson led them in points with 21. Lou Dort had 26 to lead the Thunder. And then in terms of rebounds, Steph Curry had 9 to lead Golden State. Josh Giddey had 11 to lead OKC. And then for assists, Steph Curry had 10 to lead the Warriors, and Giddey had 7 to lead OKC. Nate, I'll just bounce to you. I guess what are your thoughts on this win for Golden State?
I guess it's pretty impressive overall. I guess they're a lot stronger than OKC, at least on paper. So it's not like it should have been too much of a struggle, but it's nice to see that they were able to, I guess, just get the win. So yeah, pretty good job by the Warriors.
Yeah, honestly, this is just a win. You go in there and you just get it. Might be an easy one, but you got to take those easy ones when they come. I guess, Mete, I'll get to you. Give me your thoughts on OKC.
Yeah, the Thunder have been hit with injuries lately, and the most notable one being Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And yeah, you think about what they did last year with Al Horford, how they shut him down for like half a season. They've got so many draft picks that I'm thinking that could be a possibility again this season with Alexander. And I feel like they shut him down last season, like near the end as well. So I feel like that's a possibility. So yeah, lately without their best player, they've been really struggling, and they're down to the 14th seed. So we'll see what happens with the Thunder going forward.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I'm too worried about the Thunder. They're still growing as a team. This just gives them more of a chance to play some of their younger talent. So at the end of the day, Shai, he can take his time. He can get healed up, and then he can come back and play. I don't think they're in any rush to make a run at the playoffs at this point. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you. This OKC team, they're probably going to stay where they're at. And yeah, hopefully they do play some meaningful games in the future. But as of right now, yeah, it's all about the young guys. We'll get to the next game here. The Utah Jazz beating the New York Knicks 113-104. Taking a look at the leaders here for points, Donovan Mitchell led the Jazz with 32. Julius Randle led the Knicks with 30. Then for rebounds, Mitchell Robinson 21 for the Knicks. Udoka Azubuike, I'm just butchering this name. He had 14 for the Jazz. Mike Conley led the Jazz with 7 assists, and then RJ Barrett had 6 to lead the Knicks. I guess, Mete, I'll get to you on Utah. I guess another routine win for them.
Yeah, another routine win for sure. And this was actually a close game as well, but fourth quarter, the Jazz go 31-18, and that's enough to get the job done. And I was just speaking about injuries. The Jazz are without Rudy Gobert, definitely one of the best paint defenders in the game right now. And yeah, he's really key to this team. So for them to beat the Knicks, I know they've got a tough record, but they're still a really talented team. So I'm still impressed by this.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed. This Utah team. I don't know. It seems like year after year, they've just been very impressive. They just had a strong team overall. Hopefully, this year is the year they can sort of get over the hump. But I guess getting to you, Nate, I guess what are your thoughts on the Knicks?
I guess for the Knicks, yeah, they kept it close with the Jazz up until the fourth quarter, but unfortunately, the Jazz decided to kind of put the clamps on the Knicks, which is kind of unfortunate. I guess just looking at the score sheet, I noticed some of the guard play wasn't necessarily the best. I think Alec Burks was only able to get 20% for his field goals. So I guess that and kind of the bench not really being able to step up as much kind of, I guess, put maybe a little bit too much strain on the starters. And they are without Derrick Rose as well. So that doesn't really help either.
Yeah, this Knicks team struggled quite a bit this year. Whether it's been injuries, whether it's been other things, we'll have to see. Hopefully, they can still play good enough down the stretch to get into a play-in spot. But yeah, we'll have to see. This was a tough loss against a really strong Utah team. And yeah, that's it for the Monday slate. So we'll get to Tuesday. And as we're recording, all of the games are either currently going on or just getting underway. The Sixers are up on the Suns at the end of the third quarter. We have the Hawks up on the Pacers at halftime. We have the Celtics up on the Nets at halftime. At the end of the first quarter, the Grizzlies are up on the Clippers. In the middle of the second quarter, we have the Pelicans up on the Houston Rockets. In the first quarter, Detroit and Dallas are tied, and games just getting underway are the New York Knicks at the Denver Nuggets, the Milwaukee Bucks at the LA Lakers, the Orlando Magic at the Portland Trailblazers, and the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Sacramento Kings. So we won't be covering these games. We'll move right into the fantasy basketball pickups for the week. Nate, I'm going to start with you. I guess who's your guard pickup for the week?
I guess for the week, you can maybe take a look at Malik Beasley from Minnesota Timberwolves. As of right now, he's 40% rostered, which is a really big jump. He's had a string of pretty good games. I think his last game, he got 20 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. So he's been getting a lot of minutes and opportunities to get some really good stat lines. And I guess as long as D'Angelo Russell isn't going to have consistent minutes due to, I guess, him being hurt right now, then Malik Beasley is going to be a good pickup, especially in shallow leagues.
All right, and I'll move to you now, Mete. Who's your guard for the week?
For guard, I went with Trey Mann of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's shooting guard eligible and it's only 10% rostered. Recently, he's been added to the starting 5 unit for OKC. As like I said, unfortunately, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went down with injury. So, and yeah, like I said before, I feel like he could get shut down, but we don't know that yet. But it's something to think about. And yeah, he's been really impressive this last week. He's averaging 80% from the free throw line, 3.3 threes a game, 16.3 points, 1.3 steals on 1.8 turnovers. So yeah, he's playing great. Even if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander comes back, I feel like he's impressed the OKC coaching staff enough to earn playing time.
For sure. And I guess for my guard pickup for the week, I have Cam Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets. I talked about him a few weeks ago that if you own Kyrie Irving, you need to handcuff this guy on your bench. But also, if you own James Harden, you should probably do the same thing. It looks like Harden's been out with an injury, and Cam Thomas, he's benefited in his last two games coming into Tuesday. He had 20 points and he had 30 points, respectively. Really solid outings for him. 4 assists per game in those two games. We know Kyrie can't play home games, and we know James Harden is out until he's back. Make sure you have Cam Thomas on your roster and in your starting lineup when he plays. So he'll definitely be really solid, whether he's starting or whether he comes off the bench, as he is going to get minutes. We'll move to forwards now. Nate, I'll get to you. Who's your forward pickup for the week?
I guess for the week in deeper leagues, you can take a look at Garrison Matthews. He's about 16% rostered right now. For the most part, he's a shooter, so he's going to be getting threes for you. He'll be able to get points as well. Occasionally, he'll get steals and assists, but his main value is in his shooting, basically. I think Eric Gordon, I think he's injured with something, so he wasn't playing tonight. So as long as Eric Gordon is going to be hurt for a bit, that's going to give Garrison Matthews more minutes. So he'll be able to get, I guess, better stats for you.
All right. And Mete, I'll move to you. I guess who do you have at forward this week?
Yeah, I've got Darius Baisley, also from the Oklahoma City Thunder, small forward and power forward eligible, and he's only 35% rostered. And yeah, it seems like Oklahoma City is a gold mine right now for fantasy, at least. Their number one option is out. And after Lou Dort, I wouldn't say there's a really consistent scoring threat there. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of shots going around. Baisley also has been starting lately, so that's great for him. And he's seeing a lot of minutes. He's like 30 plus in the last games or so. He's averaging 1.5 threes a game, 13.8 points per game, 9.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 1 block on 1.8 turnovers. So yeah, it looks like Oklahoma City, their coach, he also, I noticed he changes the lineups up a lot. So yeah, be prepared to pick up someone else from there, as I think there's great opportunity for fantasy.
All right. And I guess for forward, I have Isaiah Jackson from the Indiana Pacers. He plays power forward in fantasy. He's around 30% rostered. He is injured at the moment, but with the Pacers shipping out a lot of forwards, including Sabonis, and receiving a lot of guards in return, there's definitely going to be an opportunity for him to get into the starting lineup when he gets healthy. And I mean, his play has backed it up. In the 3 games before he got injured, he had double-digit points, including a 26-10 game, which is really solid, 10 rebounds there. And he had a steal and 2 blocks in that game. The game before, he had a steal and 3 blocks. So, yeah, covering the entire stat sheet for you in fantasy. He is injured, so stash him on your IR. I believe the injury is minor. He's still being ruled out game to game, which means that he is close to a return. So definitely go pick up Isaiah Jackson, as there is a chance he can get into the starting lineup and continue that production with Sabonis now out of Indiana. So I guess, Nate, I'll move to you. Who do you have at center for pickups?
I guess originally I had Dwight Powell. I think he has a pretty decent upside, especially for really deep leagues. He has been getting an uptick in minutes. He can occasionally get some points for you. He can get a little bit of rebounds. He can get some steals and some blocks as well. But I think JaVale McGee is starting to get some minutes as well. And I think currently in the game he's playing now, he has a double-double. So in deep leagues, he is another center that can get a lot of points and get a lot of rebounds. And I think JaVale McGee has some good percentages as well because he plays close to the basket. So those are 2 centers you can pick up.
All right. And I'll bounce to you, Mete. Who do you have at center for this week?
For center, I went with Alperen Şengün of the Houston Rockets, 36% rostered, and it's only center eligible, sadly, but it looks like Steven Silas is finally unleashing Sengun as he's seen 25 plus minutes in his last 3 games, and he's starting tonight, which I was super excited for. But I noticed that the Pelicans, who they're playing, are starting Jackson Hayes and Jonas Valanciunas, two big bodies. So might be matchup related, but anyways, he's seeing a lot of minutes lately, so that's great. He's averaging 44% field goal, almost 89% free throw percentage, on 0.7 3-pointers a game, 10.7 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 0.7 steals, and 2 blocks over the last week. So, yeah, he's playing great lately. He's seeing consistent minutes finally. So, I think he's going to take off.
All right. And I guess for my center pickup for the week, I have Trey Lyles once again. I know it's been tough for him lately as both Olynyk and Jeremy Grant have returned to the lineup, but this guy still continues to produce even off the bench. In his last game, 16.7 rebounds, 1 assist. I think he's had a streak of like 7 straight games where he's had at least 1 3-pointer as well. It's really tough to get threes from the center position. Definitely take a look at him. And I mean, his field goal, it's been up and down, but it's not going to hurt you. Neither will his free throw. And I mean, if he's doing this kind of production in like what 16 minutes, he's getting like 16 points. Imagine more minutes he could get if they deal Jeremy Grant at the deadline. So definitely a guy you should be stashing in case he gets unleashed after some trades happen. So yeah, go add Trey Lyles even as a bench stash. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the fantasy basketball pickups for the week. So we're going to move right into the preview for the Wednesday game slate. Not all the lines are up yet as there are still games going on Tuesday night. So we'll just take a look at some of these games and I guess just project our winners here. We'll start with the first game. It's the San Antonio Spurs at the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are favored by 6 points. Mete, I'll get to you first. I guess which side do you like here?
That's a good question as I'm a big fan of the Cavs, but 6 points, it's not that small of a line, and I feel like the Spurs are much better than their record states. So I think I might lean with the Spurs as yeah, I feel like the line is it's not that big, but like I feel the Spurs are the better call here.
All right. And Nate, I'll just bounce to you. I guess Cavs are favored by 6. Which side do you like?
It's a little bit hard to tell because the Cavs don't have everyone available right now, and I think the availability of their new acquisition is going to kind of change things a little bit. I think that if the new guy is able to play, then I think they might be able to cover that. But um, if if that's not the case, then you should probably go with the Spurs.
Yeah, I think the Cavs have been one of the best teams against the spread over the season. Kind of cooled off lately. I think they're 0-5 against the spread in their last 5. Plus, you talked about all the players being traded, going back and forth. They might not be in the lineup. I think I know I like the Spurs, and I tend to fade them because whenever I bet on them, they never cover for me. But I think I definitely have to go with the Spurs here. I think you have to. They have been playing better, and yeah, this Cavs team, they're sort of in a turnaround right now with all the trades. So yeah, I think I'll lean with the Spurs here. We'll move to the next matchup. We got the Chicago Bulls at the Charlotte Hornets. Bulls are favored by 1 point. Nate, I'll get to you first. I guess which side do you like?
Um, I I guess you can maybe go with the Bulls. I think them being able to kind of keep up with the Suns, and it basically became a 3-point game. I think they're gonna want to try to bounce back from that, and hopefully they'll be able to, I guess, cover 1 point.
All right, and Mete, moving to you. Do you like the Bulls -1 or the Hornets at +1?
Yeah, it's another tough one as the Bulls have kind of been struggling lately, but so have the Hornets. But the Hornets are on like a 5-game losing streak or something like that. So I might have to side with the Bulls here.
Yeah, I think just looking at a general outlook before certain players are ruled out, I think you have to go with the Bulls, especially if Gordon Hayward has a significant injury. We don't know what's going on there, but yeah, definitely got to roll with Chicago, I guess, even on the road. Getting to the next game, Toronto Raptors at the OKC Thunder. Raptors are favored by 9.5. Mete, I'll start with you. I guess which side do you like?
That's a really big number, and the Thunder actually beat the Raptors earlier this season, and they were on the road. So I don't know, maybe it's possible, but they're without Gilgeous Alexander. It's going to be really tough. But it's just such a big spread. I think I'll just go with the Raptors because they're just on fire right now.
Sorry about that, Nate. Getting to you, I guess. Which side do you like?
I guess with OKC being without Shai Alexander and the Raptors being on fire lately, I think even with the big spread, you could probably go with the Raptors on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you got to just keep riding with the Raptors while they're hot, even on the road. They've played pretty well, whether it's at home or on the road. And this OKC team is not the same team that beat the Raptors earlier in the year. Also, the Raptors are a lot healthier as well. Definitely got to take them here. Minnesota Timberwolves at the Sacramento Kings. No spread here. Um, I don't know whether the players play that the Kings acquired, but I guess Nate, getting to you, I guess which side would you like here? I guess to win.
A little bit tough to say. I think the spread should be closer depending on the availability of, I guess, both the King. I guess mostly the Kings players, but I think if they don't have full availability, then you should probably go with the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I think I'm probably taking whatever the spread is for the Timberwolves as long as it's not in the double digits. I guess Mete, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely like the Wolves to win. And as for spread, maybe like after 5, I start considering the Kings. But that's if they have Sabonis and Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday, I think. So yeah.
All right, and moving to the next game, big matchup here: Golden State Warriors at the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are favored by 3.5 at home. Mete, I'll get to you first. I guess which side do you like here?
It's a tough call. If Rudy Gobert is not playing, I think I might have to go with the Warriors as they're not favored here. So yeah, on toss-up games, I like to go with the plus, like I always say, and that's the Warriors here. So I'm going with the Warriors.
All right, Nate, I guess getting to you. I guess which side do you like?
Yeah, I think Gobert is still out at the moment, and I guess my feeling is as long as Steph Curry's in, then the Warriors pretty much always have a chance to cover. So I'm going with the Warriors.
Yeah, I think probably have to jump on this line as soon as possible if you like the Warriors, because if Gobert is actually going to be out of the game, it's probably going to flip. So yeah, I think I like Golden State as well. I think they definitely could be favored. It's probably just the home court advantage, if anything. But yeah, I definitely think Golden State can win this game. So I'll take them to cover as well. And then one more game on the Wednesday slate. It's the LA Lakers at the Portland Trailblazers. No spread up yet. Most likely the Lakers will be favored in this game as Portland's traded out a lot of players. Nate, I'll get to you first. I guess which side do you like here?
It's going to depend on how big the spread's going to be because Portland is a little depleted right now, especially after all the trades that they just did. So if the spread is kind of high, it's going to depend on how high it is. I think if it's more than like 13 or something, you might want to go with the Blazers, but anything below that, you should probably go with the Lakers.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say 13. I just say double digits because we know the Lakers can't play defense. So if it's anything more than double digits, I think I'd pick the Trailblazers. I guess Mete, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like if it hits double digits, even though the Blazers, they've traded a lot of players, might have to go with them at that point, as the Lakers are not really reliable, but if for any reason the Lakers are plus because they're on the road, definitely take them, but I don't think that will happen. So let's say like around 8 or 9, you can start considering the Blazers.
All right. And yeah, that's the end of the preview for the Wednesday slate. I guess for our final thoughts, we'll take a look at some of these trades. So 4 major trades happened. I'll just sort of read off each trade here. So we have the Sacramento Kings and Indiana Pacers trading with each other. Just going over the trade. So going to Indiana is Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. And then going to Sacramento would be Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, and a 2023 second round pick. I guess, Mete, I'll start with you. I guess, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, this one kind of came out of nowhere as a lot of people didn't see this coming. The Kings trade Tyrese Halliburton, who's a great defender, great playmaker. So, yeah, and he's really young. He like would fit on any team, and it looked, or I thought the Kings would want to hang on to him, but yeah, I feel like they're getting frustrated with the fact that they haven't made the playoffs since 2005, 2006. So yeah, I feel like they're just trying to win now. They're only what, 1 game out of the play-in tournament. So yeah, if they can make the play-in tournament, they could snap that streak. So that's probably what they're thinking here.
Yeah, for sure. I guess getting to you, Nate, do you have any thoughts on this trade?
I guess their what their goal is they kind of needed a good power forward, and I guess Marvin Bagley, they started to, I guess, lose a little bit of faith in him, so they're trying to bring over Sabonis. But Tyrese Halliburton's a good player. I think Marvin Bagley's still pretty talented. Um, and the West is really stacked right now, so trying to win now is not necessarily a good idea.
Yeah, I definitely think the Pacers won this trade. I think that Halliburton has a lot of potential. I feel like the Kings sort of gave up on him too early, in my opinion. I feel like they should have kept him along and sort of paired him with Fox. If they wanted to deal Buddy Hield, that's fine. But I guess at the end of the day, they needed to shake something up, and that's what would have got the trade done. So that's why they did it. Um, I know shaking things up doesn't always mean you win the trade, but sometimes it'll just improve your team in general, even if you don't win the trade. So yeah, I definitely like the trade for the Pacers there. Moving on to the next trade, um, the Pelicans acquired CJ McCollum from the Trailblazers. It looks like they also get Larry Nance Jr. and Tony Snell as well. And then they give up Josh Hart, Thomas Sadaransky, Nikhil Alexander Walker, and Didi Luzada. Those players go to the Trailblazers. I guess, Nate, I'll start with you. I guess, what are your thoughts?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like the Pelicans kind of got the better end of the deal, but yeah, I feel like this is just kind of a weird trade overall. I'm not sure why the Blazers would trade CJ McCollum.
Yeah, it's almost imminent that Damian Lillard's going to be shipped out at this point, as well as traded pretty much this man's best friend. So it's going to be hard for him to, want to stay in Portland, especially if they are, I guess, looking at a rebuild. All right, Mete, I'll just get to you now. I guess, what are your thoughts on the McCollum trade?
Yeah, at first I was kind of confused like Nathan as well, but kind of makes sense now that you think about it, as I think it was this off season where there was reports Zion is unhappy with the Pelicans, so they're probably trying their best to get help. And yeah, they're showing that they're trying their best. They're 10th place currently in a play-in spot, so it's not like they have no shot at the playoffs. So yeah, it makes sense. CJ McCollum is one of the best players in the league, so that's a great acquisition for the Pelicans. And for the Trailblazers, it does look pretty bad, but I like Josh Hart. He's really solid. I think Nikhil Alexander Walker has great potential, and they got a couple picks out of it. So yeah, with trades like this where there's picks involved, you can never tell until like after a couple years where you see what they end up doing with those picks. So yeah, on the Blazers side, it does look bad, but they're trying something new. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, probably full on rebuild for this Blazers team. And then I guess as for the Pelicans, they've had a rough year, but they still have good young talent. Zion Williamson's still there, even though he hasn't played yet this season. They definitely want to build around him, or else there is a chance he leaves town. So you definitely got to bring some talent in. And I definitely think McCollum's very talented. I think good trade overall for both teams, but more so, I definitely like it for the Pelicans. We'll get to the next trade here that happened this week. Karis LeVert going to the Cleveland Cavaliers from the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers get back Ricky Rubio, a first round pick in 2022, and 2 second-round draft picks. Mete, I'll start with you. I guess, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I really like this move for Cleveland. They're looking great this season, and they just picked up a borderline all-star, in my opinion. Uh, Probably he didn't get any recognition this season as he missed a lot of time, but yeah, I think over the next couple of years, he's definitely got a chance to make it. And they didn't have to give up that much. They gave up Ricky Rubio and I think a first round pick that was protected. But like I said, you never know until what those picks turn into. And yeah, maybe they do something great with that pick, the Pacers, but for now, I really like the move for the Cavaliers as they just made their chances, or they just increased their chances by so much by doing this move in winning this season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Of course, Colin Sexton being out for the year, they definitely want to add a shooting guard. And we definitely know that adding a guy like Karis LeVert, pretty solid. I don't know, Nate, what are your thoughts on this deal?
I kind of liked the deal from both sides, actually. I mean, for Cleveland, it's kind of obvious. Levert's a really good player. Um, I think the Cavs have been missing Darius Garland, and they need a little bit scoring from the perimeter. So Levert's pretty much the perfect option for that. And for the Pacers, I guess they're pretty much parting ways with both Sabonis and Levert. So I'm wondering if they're trying to it's a little bit more than retool, but a little bit less than a full rebuild. So I guess a partial rebuild of sorts. So I guess Ricky Rubio would be a good option for that. He's a good playmaker. He can score a little bit as well. They're getting some good draft picks, so hopefully it works out for the Pacers.
Yeah, definitely. They've been huge sellers this year at the deadline. So yeah, all this draft capital hopefully does pay off. And then as for the Cavs, yeah, great acquisition. Hopefully can help them at least win one round in the playoffs, if not more than that. And then one more trade I want to look at. Another big selling team this year was the Portland Trailblazers. They trade Norman Powell and Robert Covington in a trade to the Clippers for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a second round draft pick from 2025. I guess, Nate, I'll start with you. Give me your thoughts on this deal.
To be honest, I don't really like this trade. I think that Norman Powell was a really good scorer, so they traded away CJ McCollum and Norman Powell were both 20 point per game scorers. And I think the players that they received in return, they're all right, but I feel like it's kind of a step down, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely like this deal for the Clippers. I feel like they acquired the two best players in the deal, in my opinion, because I don't know, Eric Bledsoe has not lived up to his reputation in LA. I guess, Mete, give me your thoughts on this deal.
Yeah, for the Clippers, this deal makes so much sense. Like their future is really bleak. They had to give up a lot to get Paul George, and they got to make moves like this as yeah, their time is running out, and this was great for them. Powell and Covington will really help them win. And for the Blazers, I didn't really like it at first. I still don't, but I finally figured out why they did it, or at least why I think they did it. Powell and Covington, they've got pretty big contracts, so they get those two off their books at least, and they free up a lot of space. But yeah, the return wasn't that great. Keon Johnson, at least he's a young player. Hopefully he'll turn out to something for the Blazers. Winslow is all right too. Like you guys said for Bledsoe, he's been all right, but he's not what he was before. And yeah, the second round pick looks bad, but Norman Powell himself was a second round pick. Chris Middleton was a second round pick, and there's so many more examples. I just can't think of many right now. So it is a second round pick, but you never know what it can turn into. So yeah, we'll see what happens for the Blazers.
Yeah, definitely. Blazers, like you said, trying to clear cap. They're trying to, sell off their big contracts. Trying to rebuild. Obviously, when you're trading out a lot of big money, it's tough to bring in a lot of assets as you're sort of dumping cap at that point. So they got what they could, obviously, and I think the Clippers definitely benefit from this. Of course, no Paul George for them, no Kawhi Leonard also. So it's been really tough. At least Norman Powell can sort of add to that offense. And yeah, I think we pretty much covered the big trades so far. I guess on next week's episode, we'll definitely look at what happened leading up to the deadline, as the deadline's on Thursday, and we'll just sort of talk about everything that didn't happen so far. Definitely a great way to wrap up this episode. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this big time basketball episode. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at FanFan Podcast. We've been posting picks for NBA, NHL, and our last picks for NFL will be up this week for the Super Bowl. Definitely go check them out. And then also check out this episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications on YouTube, leave comments, reviews, all that good stuff. And yeah, guys, busy time in the NBA. Lots of games, lots of trades, lots to talk about. Great episode. And we'll talk to you guys on the next episode.